Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Anand, and on behalf of Godrej Material Handling, I welcome you to our next webinar in the Storage and Handling Knowledge Series titled Rental Solutions for Material Handling Equipment. Today marks the 11th webinar in this series, an initiative which we started to bring attendees learnings from our experience of more than 50 plus years in the material handling industry. The webinars have evolved over the months and where we have invited experienced professionals to share their vast knowledge about the different topics important to the industry. On that note, I come to today's webinar. In this webinar, we will aim to learn about different aspects of rental solutions for material handling operations. Today's webinar is being presented by Mr. Gunjan Bhargava, who heads the Godrej Rent Trust, the rental arm of Godrej Material Handling. Gunjan sir has over 20 years of experience in the material handling industry and has been instrumental in growing the rental business for Godrej Material Handling. Heading the rent trust business since its inception in the year 2016, he has been pivotal in making it the top three MHE rental companies in India. Before we move on to the event, I request everybody to please put their questions in the chat box to your right, and please do not forget to write your names when putting up a query. The names will help us get back to you in case you're not able to answer the queries during the course of the webinar. With that, I request Gunjan sir to please take over, and I wish everybody has an insightful session. Yes,
Good
sir.
afternoon, everyone. A warm welcome to all of you. And thanks, Anand, for the quick round of introduction. So, guys, during this, we had a long, tough 2020 amid COVID-19 pandemic, and still we are recovering. Thanks a lot for joining this webinar in these difficult times and where the economy has just started catching up. And I believe everyone who is a professional over here must be finding it difficult to get time and attend this webinar, but I'm encouraged to share my experiences over last 2 decades in MHE industry and perfectly for the rental solutions. I can only share what is happening across the world because I'm in mid of this industry for quite some time. Let me take you through my experience. We would be covering basically 2-3 aspects. Why rentals, why it is emerging, why it is becoming a trend, why worldwide it is moving into a north direction. Second, what should people see while they are choosing their rental partners? Third, and all the more important, what are the solutions on the offering when we are talking about rental solutions? I would be happy to take your questions once this session is over. And I would be sharing my contact details at the end of the presentation. And I will be more than happy to connect with you, all the professional friends who are seeing and viewing this. This will give us the opportunity to meet, interact, and take the relationships forward and share our mutual experiences. I look forward as a learning experience from all these professionals who are listening to me. So I have a deck with me. So please allow me to share the deck and take you through these slides and presentations. I've tried to make it as simple as possible so that we can understand the rental as a concept, why it is catching up. To begin with, the first and foremost question, my friends, in front of us is usually people are on the crossroads saying whether I should buy or I should rent. And what is the right way? And people start finding the reasons behind it, try to find out which is the best thing for me and whether I should buy or rent. Now, both these concepts of buy and rent is nothing but buy means I want to own this asset or I want to own this stuff, and rent is all of us know I can borrow something from my friend, I can pay and return something, so that is rent. And this is both these transactions are happening since eternity, since the human kind is there. So I own something and I also borrow from my friends and I also give it to them. Now let us see why people buy and why when people rent. So there are situations around it. Not only situations, there are conditions. There are your pocket should allow buying, your pocket should allow renting. So let us see what all it calls for. So there are some 5, 6, 7 reasons why people decide when to buy and when to rent it out. Let us go one by one and understand what is changing in the world. Till 50 years back, no one was talking about rentals. Since last 20 years back in India, no one was talking about rentals. So what has happened? Is it the generation change? Is it the mindset change? Or is it is beyond that? Or the rapid industrialization has changed? Let us see one by one. Now, when we see our own self-being, whether the person is sitting in the office or he is sitting at home or he is in the personal life or in a business chair, his behavior doesn't change. Today, gone are the days when to get dropped to an airport or to any other railway station, people used to ask their friends to drop. Today it is very simple. They go for Ola, they go for Uber. There is no disturbance to anyone. So why should I own a car and ask someone to drop me by my own car when I can have an Ola? So whether I should have a capital expense or it is an operating expense, how I want to deal that? Now this capital expense and operating expense in the industrial world plays a bigger role. Whether a person who is interested to do that wants to see the business opportunity or the kick in the business for a longer duration, or he wants for a smaller duration. So that is one decision making point which I have seen over time, and from company to company, people to people, and understanding, it keeps on changing. Now there is a very clear shift which is happening from products to services. Earlier days, people used to own products. Now they require services. Why to have a guest house built by a company at various places when you have an Airbnb or something where you can have a tie-up for a longer term? Why I should have the apartments across? If I have got a money, I will use it more wisely than investing in the properties. So there is a clear shift which is happening, and it is happening in the behavior of each one of us. If I got an apartment which is vacant, all the more I will publish it to Airbnb. Why not to go for Rentomojo? All these are the brands which have come up in last, I would say, a decade or 2 decades. Before that, where were they? Everyone was going for the products. Third most important change is convenience. Maybe most of you or if you are the younger ones, maybe you're a generation before you. People used to have a gala events in form of weddings, and the entire extended family and the family used to gather themselves and prepare for the wedding. Someone who is taking care of the catering, someone is taking care of the decorations, someone taking care of the rituals, etc. Today, it is a very convenient thing to have an excellent wedding event planner. These planners do everything for you and you enjoy the event rather than spending yourself. Does it mean that the enjoyment was not there earlier? it was in a different way. Today, the definitions have changed about the convenience. In this pandemic, yesterday only I was going through Urban Clap, or what they called Urban Company now. They have got some millions of people taking their services, sitting at home, scared about pandemic, do not want to go out. They are taking services in their home in the best of the environment. Clear example of a convenience. So that makes people shift their choices from products to services. They do not want to go. They want to have a convenient route. Then the seasonal demands. In any business, there is always a cyclicity. You require, say, example. You want the seed companies, they require during the season, equipment during the season. There are companies like beverages. There are companies like soft drink companies, bottling companies. These people require during a particular season, usually during summers. So why to invest and keep the things blocked if you can only meet the requirement during the season? So these are the few things which make the choices very clear that we want only for the time being. We do not want a longevity over there. Now there are big companies coming in India. Our landscape of the business of getting the things done is getting changed. When the landscape changes and one company is serving as a grocery shop or the shop next door to the entire country, they would definitely go for the seasonal sales. They will decide very quickly. They want quick turnarounds and it has to be a large scale. You require someone to take care of it. You want to focus on your core business. You do not want to focus on something which is not core to your business. And you require really you require something to happen very, very fast. So how can it happen? So these are the needs which were not there earlier. Things were much more planned. There never used to be unplanned activities at a faster note. Business used to happen at a particular pace. Today the pace is enormously very high. Now the contemporary technologies. Amidst the contemporary technologies, technology today is changing very fast. And so the requirement, demand, expectations are changing. When it is changing at a particular pace, people want contemporary technologies to be there. People want that I should have the product in my factory, in my warehouse, in my shop floor as new and as with the latest technologies. May not be only core to the machine. It could be accessories. It could be safety devices. It could be attachments. It could be any other sort of machinery which makes the life more easy and more comfortable, safe, and highly productive. But if I invest in an older technology and I am seeing a life of 7 years or 10 years around it, is it viable for the business to keep on changing the technology? And one more note, not everyone wants the contemporary technologies, and for everyone the definition of contemporary changes. So some industry who is good with a diesel forklift truck, which is in workhorse, nothing wrong in using it. But inside a warehouse, people may shift to electric ones. But if they would have invested in a diesel fork truck, possibly it is a huge amount of investment to change the technology and move to electric ones. But if you are an operating model and you have not invested in the capex, it becomes easy to make the choices and switch very fast. It's only a matter of decision and fixing it out. The bigger question today, which haunts many people and many colleagues and people do keep on asking me, is how to choose. There are so many options which are available because this time, where in the times we are living, choices are enormous. But still people say, do we have a choice? Or do we have the right choice? So if you see this particular slide, you would know what all could be the matter of choices. Is my business fluctuating? Am I sure of my business? Or I want an operational efficiency without focusing, basically not deviating from my core business competency. Now for a warehouse keeper, managing the inventory is the core competency, not operating the lifting and shifting. So someone is required who is expert to it. What is my requirement duration? Is it going to be few months, few weeks, few days, few years? What is my capability? Without any financial capability being there, can I still ramp up my business with only paying an operational expense? Couple of years back, it was no choice. So there was only an organic in a particular ladder manner you can grow. But with such type of solutions, the startups, the newcomers in new geographies, in new countries, in new states, you can still work and experiment at very low cost and try out different business models. So let us see now the larger question which many people have asked me is how to choose the rental vendor. Now, since there is a choice about buying and renting, traditionally there are matrices which are available for choosing how to buy. But how to rent? Do we have a template around? Are the parameters same? Or do we have different parameters to be evaluated? Is the cost the only driver? Or safety is the only driver? Or it is beyond that? So there could be multiple choices or preferences which different people may have, different companies may have, philosophies may have. But these are the few which globally people prefer to have a look before deciding any of the rental partners. And this goes well with any of the service partners as well. So let us see one by one what all it calls for. Now for the service support, it is very easy to say that I need to have the excellent service support around. Who doesn't want service support? Everyone eyes for a good service support, but how to evaluate that? Do people really evaluate service support, or it is only the box from 1 to 5 what I want to take? I want to take 1, I want to take 5, and whether it is an hearsay, whether it is a reference check. So what should be the real parameters to check the service support? Is it only a fluke to give a good service support? Or there is a lot of planning behind it? So that not only one time, every time it hits it as an excellent service support. So one should always see whether the partner whom I'm seeing at has got a competent workforce in terms of manpower. Do they have sufficient manpower? Because the difference usually do not lie between the machines. Difference usually lie between the man behind the machine. That is extremely important. The difference lies between the skill sets owned, executed, and performed by these manpower. What about response? Is it only the first response time which is important? or resolution time which is more important? Or is it the longevity of the repairs which is more important? Do we have clear matrices to define that? Do my partner has got a framework to measure all these things objectively? Once done objectively, can we improve upon it? So there are larger questions to be asked, larger templates to be created. There are certain amount of templates which are available. If anyone needs those templates, we can surely share with you. There is absolutely no problem. But this is one side which requires a lot of thought as you select the right partner. Second is the scalability. Today, the business is growing geographically in every nook and corner of the country. There are very limited companies who eye only for a particular geography or do not want to operate across India. Or within a particular geography, they want to scale up very fast. In this scale up process, your need also fluctuates. At times you require more, at times you want to suddenly scale down because it is a experimentation which keeps on happening, and this is a VUCA world. Anything can hit anytime, and people need to be prepared to change their scale of operations. When the opportunity knocks, should we see for our at the back who is standing with us to scale up and scale down? Because at that particular time, if you start developing your partners, it takes a lot of time. So you need to choose a partner who can scale up very fast or who can help you in scaling down the operations very fast. Upgrading the equipment from like in fork trucks. It is on tonnages you calculate the equipment. So someone who can upgrade from a 3-ton machine to 5-ton and 10-ton. Someone who can upgrade from a fork truck to warehousing truck to stock pickers. Someone who can help you develop the business from Calcutta to Chennai and from Bombay to Chandigarh. So that is the barriers which have to be broken. At the same time, do we have the masses to interact with all the geographies? Possibly that's not the case. So what happens? You need one person, one entity, one organization to do the operations across the country and just to meet your needs and requirements. Now, this is something which is a new evaluation matrix which most of the purchase managers or the supply chain managers have evolved. And the latest in the cards is the management in place to evaluate whether our partners have got a right type of management in place. Are the roles very clearly defined with my partners? Because I'm not buying any equipment. So I do not have any ISO written over there, ISI mark written over there on the service. I do not have any of the certifying bodies saying that these are the product specifications. And in services, the most important thing is the people. And when we are talking about people, we need to understand that do we have the right type of people and processes? As people are important, so are the processes. But to run those processes, you require people. And you need to have a very clear definition on who is taking care of safety, who is taking care of your responses, who is taking care of your relationships, who is taking care of your needs, who is defining your capability about scaling up and down, who is sharing me an escalation matrix. So all these things are possible with technology. It is possible with processes. and definitely it requires a good management in place. So if it is more challenging if you are needing a service in your premises which is remotely being controlled by people sitting outside. You require extra amount of vigilance, extra amount of intelligence, and extraordinary capability to manage the things predictively. So this is the role of the management, which is taking care as your partners to take your business forward. So this is the extremely important element. Then comes the service values. Organizations are built on values. So what are the values? Does your partner's value system matches with yours? That matching is important. No value is good, no value is bad, but matching of the values is something which is more important. As in old Indian system, people say that in marriages also your value systems should match. Same is the marriage between the two partners. And extremely important thing, people usually neglect and then they have the clashes because the values don't match. What happens on an emergency services? What happens on the emergency situations? Is your urgency felt by your partner? Is partner capable of standing by the commitments? Can you work odd times when you require it, when your business requires it, when the urgency knocks? Is he standing by you? It's extremely important because as people say, 1 and 1 could be 11 if your friend and your partner is standing by you when you require it. So this service values do play a huge amount of role, Then the compliances. Now, when we are talking about equipment, there are compliances of various nature. And in your growth story, as the India is witnessing a huge amount of growth story, no one would like to slow the pace only because of some compliance issues. But is your partner geared up and has the value system to deploy all the compliances? Is he aware about all the compliances and knowing about the compliances across India for wide variety of requirements like equipment, manpower, safety, environment? Because India has many states and each state on manpower is different. It is not unified rules. Same are the RTOs. Same is about environment. But can we negotiate with them with these compliances? Possibly the answer is no. It's no brainer. So compliances are important, and understanding of compliances and understanding that we are not over here to flout with compliances, and there has to be the company who can stand by compliances and you can vouch over it when you are busy focusing on your core business. It's important. Then the service quality. It is very objective. This is a place where today the Indian industry has matured to a particular extent, where the KPIs and KPOs are clearly defined. People have to adhere to it. There are SLA based contracts. There are various rules, regulations, legal awareness is really matured, but it is in the process of getting matured in last 1.5 decades. And this is what the Indian industry has seen. So the service quality, how to measure is no big thing. And we have seen a maturity over there. Now comes the most important element. Having the good amount of people, good people to work for you, you would always require trainings. When we say we require trainings, The trainings could be of various nature. Now, when we are talking about the rental of MHEs on the topic which we are discussing, operations become extremely critical. Now, someone who is good in operating a motorcycle may not be very good in driving an SUV. Same as with the MHE industry. Someone who is very good in operating fork truck may not be very good in operating a stock picker. Now, what drives the operations? What drives this particular skill? Do people hit something or mismanages something because of their likelihood? They like it? They have got a liking for it? No. Because they behave in a particular manner. So what needs to be corrected? Is it the skill set or it is a behavior? There is a behavioral based safety programs to manage. And can it be learned in a day? Possibly no. It has to be repeated time again, and unless and until it is repeated, people will not understand what to change and when to change and how to change. For certain people who are extremely skilled, they also require counseling. They need to understand that what is their 8 hours job is extremely important for the end customer, because it is the customer's business which should succeed for me to succeed. And these sort of sessions definitely make a lot of difference. Now, technical training programs. Do we need to be extremely smart, or we should be defensively driving in a warehouse which is full of your goods, full of your rackings? Is it preventive or predictive? Which is more important? So while we see this, training as a vertical is extremely important to polish the people, to take the business to the next level, and to find a partner who can gel and understand your criticality of your operations. It is no one template which fits all warehouses, or there is no one template which fits all operations. It is to be studied, it has to be understood, it has to be then made a crew out of it who can be trained to behave in a particular manner, which understands your urgencies, which understands your business, your criticality. Now, this is extremely important, as I touched one point that nothing comes out without planning. So when we say that the things have to be planned, at the same time, beyond planning comes in the infrastructure. Do you have place to regenerate your machines, to take care of those machines? Do you have the right tools and tackles? Do you have the programmers? Today, electronics has taken a big leap in material handling equipments. Do we have the enough? Your partner has got an enough capability to manage inventory of equipment and parts? Do they have the capability to understand the electronics and troubleshoot it fast? Do they have inventory of parts? Because parts could be a variety of nature. Are they independent of it? Do they manage themselves? Inventory level of tools, tackles, parts, people, and place? Or they are dependent on someone else? They are also dependent on their vendors? So as people say, today the winner is going to be the ecosystem, not an individual. So if you are selecting a partner, you are making it as a part of your ecosystem to succeed. And if the partner comes with the right amount of infrastructure, you have got a stronger partner standing beside you who can serve you and take you very quickly to the next level. Now, extremely important is digitization today. When we say digitization and someone who is performing in your premises, can he still be connected with his roots? Backdoor. Is there an ERP or system working for planning? Is there a planning engine? Is there a data collection center? Are we working on certain amount of algorithms to understand why the thing should not get repeated and which type of event should get repeated every time? Do we have a backbone of digitization and the data collection? And beyond data collection, now it is more about the analytics. And after analytics comes the inferences and to actions to take care of it. All these are the infrastructures which usually get neglected whenever we are choosing or evaluating our partners, which is extremely important. Same is the last one, geographical coverage. Today, India faces a lot of linguistic barriers inside different states. Do we have remote service capabilities? Someone who can deliver good services in the metros may not be able to deliver good services in the tier 3, tier 4 cities. Reach becomes extremely important. Can reach be developed overnight? Answer is no. So it is more than the reach. It is about getting adapted to the new system of operations in a new place. Someone who is working over there for quite some time understands the ecosystem working over there. He knows about the various partners to get aligned with. So geographical coverage, if you are a multi-location company and multi-location sites are there, it becomes extremely important to understand the scalability. Someone has got an scalability but do not have a reach. Do we have a combination of a reach and coverage? So geographically, person needs to see what is the standing of my partner. Now, having understood all these things, people usually come and ask, do you have a template to understand in one template whether I should buy or I should rent? When to purchase or when to rent? So this is a particular template which usually helps people to understand on investments, solutions, financial benefits, involvement required. Now, involvement is a particular extremely important place where you want to be involved in vehicle maintenance all the time. Is it your core of your business? Do you have team? Do you have inclination to do that? Or you only want to monitor? Do you have a capability to manage multiple vendors? Because to manage a particular equipment, you may require multiple vendors to manage it. Or you want a single point of contact. So this is a particular template which helps people to understand whether they want to purchase the equipment or they want to rent the equipment. You want to own an equipment or you want services. You are much more worried about owning an asset or you are only worried about your goods to be lifted, shifted and moved. Which is more important? Do you require flexibility or yours is a very firm business which doesn't require any fluctuations? If the fluctuations are there, you need to devise your solutions accordingly. Now, friends, let me take you to the Indian rental market, especially with respect to MHEs. There is no clear body in India who has studied the rental market for MHEs in India. Definitely there are associations and there are forums for the equipment production or the OEMs. But as far as services or the rental market is concerned, we do not have any organized thing. But since of years of experience and to understanding of the entire country because of our sheer presence across India, this is a fair estimate. The market size is almost more than 10,000, 12,000 units. This market is of a size of around 1,500 crores yearly, which is growing quite fast. So how the growth is coming, let us understand. If you see this particular market of 12,000 units and you see fork trucks being parked at every nook and corner of any industrial estate or any warehousing zone, you will find that there are many unorganized players. And these unorganized players have got a lot of equipment which are used equipment maybe for a long time, and they are still using it, and they are taking out whatever is left in them with few hours of operations here or there. But they constitute a huge amount of market. Can it be neglected? Possibly no. And this is the place which is shrinking as a pie in the market size. It is shrinking. And what is growing? Growing are the big organized players. And why are they growing? As we have seen that people are becoming more and more conscious in selecting their partners and their vendors, these organized players are growing. And if you see the global markets, globally, the markets are in the hands of organized players rather than the unorganized ones. You go to Europe, you go to America. These are the two big markets for MHEs and likely to remain so for quite some time. Other than China, which is a different story altogether. So these big organized players are increasing. And who is at whose cost? They're at the cost of these unorganized players. Last year during COVID pandemic, we have seen lot of area of the unorganized players getting captured by the organized players. And why? Because the capabilities to manage uncertainties were much higher in organized players compared to the unorganized players. And they could negotiate it much better. So is it about the equipment or is it only about the renting? Renting is very simple, no? There is an equipment, you have to rent it to someone and you need to take the rental. Is it that simple? Yes. Rentals is simple, but how to do a rental is complex. How to execute it with a particular KPI, KPOs, that is different. And that makes a difference for the organized players. Because different organized players are at a different maturity curve. And each of them brings a different value. So each business environment, business model has to be prepared for something which comes in this VUCA world as an unplanned activity. Whether it is manpower to be managed during the pandemics, whether to provide the operations during the lockdowns, whether to provide people a commutation arrangements during the night times, and engaging a workforce which is beyond the gender diversity. Can we have female operators over there, which is a larger workforce, the fairer workforce? All these are the complex things which are being managed very nicely today by the Indian organized players. Now, coming to more focused questions, which one is what are the varieties of the options available? And more so, which is the best suited for me? People usually do not know what are the options which are available and how to evaluate each of them objectively. They find it difficult. So there are basically 4 different type of options which are available. So you will see there are terminologies like dry and wet contracts. It is very simple to understand. If you have an operator in the scope of the contract, you call it wet. If there is no operations in the scope of the contract and it is being done by the user himself, it is called dry. So in the rental contracts, taking an equipment along with the maintenance and managing the operations by self is possibly called the basic dry contract. This is what people require most of the times. But again, when you are having say 15 or 20 different equipment and you want to run for 3 shifts and people require 60 or 80 operators, and to manage the complexities involved with the operators, etc., they want to go for inclusion of operations as a part of the contract, and those contracts in the second line are called the basic wet contracts, where you get the equipment, you get the maintenance, you get the operations, again all with a particular deliverables. This is a basic wet contract. So we have already seen the complexities involved. We'll further see as what more is required. Then a typical question comes. I want to have depreciation to be claimed. I want to own an asset. I'm a cash surplus company. There could be various reasons why people want to own assets. And we all, including me, come from a background where we like to have assets. But can I have the best of both the worlds? Can I have a depreciation benefit coming into my balance sheet and I can save upon the profits from the taxes? Surely that is a solution which is available. So what you can do, you can buy an equipment and still take the best out of the operations and maintenance contract, which abbreviated as an OMC. That's an extremely well placed best of both the worlds of getting away from the core competency of managing the maintenance, etc., and taking the benefit of income tax or taxation schemes, or avail the loan facility or use your cash, etc., by in form of an operation and maintenance contract. And the last is I already have an asset. I only want operations. Can it be a solution? Yes, that is also a solution which is available. So you can only take for operations because you already are running through a maintenance contract and you already have an equipment. You only want one more additional add-on, that is operations. Can we do that? That's an option which are available in the market. So today on the rental part, all the more, what are the options available? Are all sort of permutation combinations are available, because services is not about what is on the offering. Services is about picking and choosing and making my own combo and doing the things as we want, which suits my business the most. And can it be done? Yeah, surely it can be done. This is an evolving market. Nothing is frozen. Yeah, so now coming on to the details of the contract inclusions, one should pay a lot of attention for understanding that what should be included as a part of the contract. Should we include compliances, which is the bottom row where the ESICs, PF, minimum wages, your equipment, RTOs, registrations, compliances, insurance. Now insurance is extremely important. Does it cover the mishaps happening? Definitely they should cover. Something which is prevalent in the industry is whenever some mishap happens, The warehouse takes care of its own insurance plan and the equipment provider provides its own insurance plan, and it works out well. And what about the people? Are they covered within ESIC scope or they are covered beyond that? Like example, today in the COVID pandemic, there were a couple of good rental companies which were providing the COVID insurance for their operators. Is it good? Good for society, good for people. To take care of your own people who are helping your business in difficult times. You need to take care of them. This is what the service values we were talking about. Does it work that way? Yes, this work this way only. It is no other way. You need to take care of your people so that they can take care of your business. Now about the maintenance. What sort of inventory of parts is there? What sort of people are available? What is their competency level? Do we have competency matrix evaluated for the people? What is the logistics of these parts, etc., which is the backend supply chain available with your partner? Are there any options available for the attachments, etc., so that they can be put on the equipment and make them more versatile during the mid of the contract? Is it an option? Is fuel an option? Is battery an option? So options could be many, but all these should be the part of the contract. Now coming on to the more details, what sort of contracts are available today in the market? The contracts are available from years together for 2 years, 3 years, 5 years period. Those are available for even for the months, for the weeks, for the quarters. And even they are available for hours. So you need to pick and choose because your pocket has to be friendly with the type of period in which you are doing. The larger the period, the better friendly the pocket is. So when we talk about estimations, it is required that we estimate very clearly as what is the period of the contract to make it more commercially viable. Now, if we talk about which type of equipment are available in the market on rent, I would say each and every equipment today is available on rent. It is up to us to decide which one is required and for which application. We may keep on changing the applications and we can keep on changing the equipment, whether it is a cleaning equipment, access equipment, whether it is a reach truck, it is a fork truck, it is a stacker, it may be a stock picker, it may be a turret stock picker, it may be very narrow aisle trucks, it may be a yard body trucks, it may be pallet trucks. Everything is available. And the best part is that today you can keep on changing the equipment depending upon your changing needs. Now these are available with contemporary agings, technologies, geographies. Now these are also available with or without applications. So this is where the catch lies. People should not take any equipment in their premises without doing a good amount of application study. Usually people think that their applications do not change, but the applications do evolve over time. The same plant, same warehouse 3 years back doing the same work. Today, because of the technology available in the outer space and your warehouse orientation getting changed, is it not changing? Definitely it is changing. Today there are IoT solutions which are available on these equipment. There are solutions where you can remotely monitor these equipment performance sitting in your swanky cabins. Can you see what is happening sitting in Bombay? What is happening in your warehouses across India? Yes, that is possible. And that is what is happening. Can you be aware about your people, whether the attendance is complete sitting in your cabin? Yes, it is very much possible. What do you need to do? You need to have the right amount of technology, right type of partners, right type of infrastructure, and clearly spelled out your requirements to make the life simple. So market has developed, so is the Indian partners, and so is the industry maturing. And today, there are no boundaries which are there for transferring the technologies from Europe, America, or India. As people say nowadays, that Amazon is one. The good practices of America, when they have to be transferred to India on the buying platform, possibly we are getting the next day. That's the difference. So we have already touched base upon the benefits of rentals. There is a freedom from many things. I keep on saying there is a freedom, focus, and flexibility in rentals. You can definitely focus on your core business activities. It is quite flexible to increase, decrease, whatever is required. You are buying a new equipment you require only for a couple of weeks, or which is a lead time, that is also possible. You have your own equipment which is under breakdown. You still have a solution available. So there are multiple things. You get a freedom when you have got a focus on rentals and you have chosen your partners, which may be intermittently used during the year or continuously used during the year, or they get on board in particular geographies and not all. You may have a mixed hybrid model. So all this is about the selection of your partners and your solutions. Multiple solutions available, multiple partners available. We need to choose the right combinations which works for you. Now, what are the activities before we conclude? What are the activities done in rentals? So it is about man, machine, and money. And beyond that, everything is the law of land, which calls for the statutories, which calls for compliances, which calls for do you have the right amount of checks and balances, SOPs, audits. How do you take care of whether the things are happening at the right place in the right time? So these are the activities which are there in the rentals. So with this, I've shared in this session about how to do the selections for the right partners. In the times to come, we'll take care about the taxations. We'll take care about the financials, how it works between the buy and the rent, and within the rent also how the financials will be evaluated and are being evaluated globally and in India. Is there a difference between the global rentals and the Indian market? Certainly there are. There are quite few which should not be neglected, and those are the landscapes getting changed in India. India is a different country, different economy, and we as Indians work in a different scenario. Our pressures and productivities are much higher than what is there in the West. So does it require a different mindset to work? Different scale of operations? What is the value which we bring? In the coming sessions, we'll keep you updated and be connected with us. So Anant, now we can go with the questions and answers if we have anything. And all of you, I would be more than happy. You can note my connects and I will be happy to connect with you as and when required. You can just drop in a message or an email and I will be happy to share with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gunjan. Thank you for an insightful session. We do have some questions from the attendees that we have joined. So the first question is, with the changed accounting rules on India between recognition of capex and opex, how is the customer impacted with respect to taxation and savings or cost to the customer?
Yeah, today, as far as the taxation is concerned, both the buying or renting are under GST. And this is where there is no impact as far as the GST is concerned. Both the rates are same as of now. But at the same time, whether you want the input tax to be taken in one go or you want it to be broken down into multiple pieces over time is a matter of choice which suits your business the most. So having said that, the right way of seeing it into is there is no difference in taxation per se over time. In operating expense, when you go, you can pick and choose the things for a longer duration GST input benefits compared to the buying, but there is no loss about the GST. But when we talk about the income tax benefits in either of the buy or the rent model, depreciation is something when you buy an equipment, you can claim over a particular period of time with accelerated depreciation or something which gives you a benefit, which gives you a benefit on income tax. But if you require it above your profit lines, you need to take care of your operating expenses. It all depends whether you want to show above the line or below the line.
Correct. The second question is, can you provide equipment on lease purchase model?
Yes, so that is a possibility in VAT situation. That was not an option which was available. Now with GST coming in and the changes in the market which is happening, possibly the lease purchase option is possible. But it requires a huge amount of study and a clear understanding between both the organizations who have the lease purchase model.
Correct. So in terms of what is included in the contract, etc.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
How to modulate the lease purchase contract is something which requires a lot of maturity and clear understanding between the partners.
Absolutely. So the next question is, and I believe you have answered this, but still I'll ask it. Do you give industry specific solutions or you have your own solution which is suitable for all operations?
I believe as I told you today, each solution, when we talk about the word solution, each solution is unique. It is unique to a particular warehouse, particular industry, particular requirement, and the customer's customer. So if we are talking about a steel manufacturer, even the within the steel manufacturing, depending upon the end customer, who is the end customer, the two plants could have a different solutions. So it is a customized solution which works more in services compared to a standard template of products. That is the broader level.
The next question is, how rental services are beneficial for MSMEs? Can you throw some light on that?
Extremely beneficial. Today, India's growth is in the hands of MSME. This is what we have been hearing, and this is what is coming out in our numbers thrown by NIC. So when MSMEs are growing at a very rapid pace, they require a lot of attention in their core business. They require solutions which are built to suit their operations. And this is where the rentals can play a huge amount of role. It may be for few days, few weeks, because MSMEs are known in India to capture the opportunity available in the marketplace. They are the fastest growth engine, and everything has to be there as a solution providers should concentrate on MSME to fuel their growth.
Correct. So even government is doing a lot to promote MSMEs in India right now.
Correct.
So there is a connecting question.
Even taking care of their outstanding.
So there is a connecting question to that, sir. MSMEs currently it sees that they are working a lot with unorganized sector. What is organized sector doing to get hold of this MSME sector?
Correct. So this is where there are definitely, you are right, Janak, and the person who has asked the question is very familiar with the Indian environment, because MSMEs are spread across India. They are beyond the clusters of manufacturing units, and hence any nook and corner you will find an unorganized players over there. And this is where the organized players, as they reach to the geographical penetration, they reach closer to them. But there is enough time which is there, next 2 years, 3 years time is there where when the organized players can reach every nook and corner of the country. But till then, the few players who have reached to a particular 80-90% of that penetration, they are available for MSMEs to take their operations in their hand.
Next question is from a particular gentleman. He's saying that I'm using forklifts that were procured a few years back. Can you buy back the same and offer me on the rent?
There is no straight template of around this question, but at the same time, if the answer has to be in yes and no, the answer is yes, but it requires a lot of study to take place at to come out at the market operating prices for the equipment for the buyback, and the same for renting it out. Okay, so this concept is called buy and lease back. Okay, so this is quite prevalent in West, but whether it is prevalent in India, I would say it is just catching up.
Correct. So next question is from a gentleman. He has procured a forklift and reach truck recently, but is unable to get skilled laborers, and the warehouse is a good 30-40 kilometers from the town. Can you provide skilled laborers only and not maintenance?
Yeah, so today, as I showed the offerings, that is a sort of an offering which is possible to support the operations only, not taking care of the maintenance or the equipment. The users may call only for the operations. That is quite possible. The only thing is it has to take care of the sufficient training to satisfy which brand of equipment he has.
So you have mentioned some different brands. So there is a question connected to that. He has asked that he is using some equipments of other brands while going for expansion and going with rental. Can we take care of the other brand equipments as well and include it in the same contract umbrella?
Typically, it is not encouraged because of the KPIs and the KPOs involved. But if it needs to be worked out and it is scalable, it is doable. So we have been doing it at a couple of places, but not very rampant.
Yes. And so there is a question about the range. So do we provide cold store application equipment as well on rent? So I believe if you can talk about the range, it will be helpful for everyone.
Yeah, so today the cold storage is definitely we are providing, and I'm happy to share that during this COVID period and during this vaccination drive, there are multiple people who are storing the vaccines, etc., are being supported by us. Even the many cold chains are being run and operated by us through our range of equipment. And why only for the cold range? It is also about the cold range is required only for the warehousing equipment and where the temperatures are quite low. But when we talk about the temperature ranges in the manufacturing setups during the hot furnaces, in front of the hot furnaces, we are providing the equipment during as high temperature as 60-65 degrees centigrade as well. So our operations start from -25 degrees centigrade, possibly to the +65 degrees centigrade equipment. Definitely by providing the safety gadgets and the furnace kits and even making the equipment compliant with cold storages. So when you're talking about range, articulated truck is one category which is emerging as a front runner in last, I would say, 2 years or so. That is a big plus point. India is on the global map, who is making the articulated trucks and taking it to the global level. And this is a good product of India from the Indian land. So Make in India also supports that initiative. One. Second, we also have diesel trucks in the range capacity from maybe 1.5, 2 ton, 3 ton capacity to 10 ton. Though in the rental, what happens is people usually like to go for 3 ton, 5 ton, 10 ton, 12 ton and more. Okay, so this is what the range is. Now, if we talk about electric fork trucks, 3 ton is a very workhorse. Now, the good part is that in a counterbalance 3 ton forklift trucks, the latest of the art AC technologies are quite available and quite stable with the Indian players and most reliable ones when it get compared with the global environment. So whether we talk about any class of equipment from class 1 to class 8, all are available in the market and are on the offerings. So I believe choices are no barrier now. It is beyond that.
Very good. So the next question is, it's a very basic question. What is the difference between organized and non-organized players? How do we define them?
Correct. So that is an interesting stuff which I also learned in a harder way. What is an organized and an unorganized segment? Now, when we talk about an organized, what is there in organized players? Okay, it is like what is the difference between the light and the dark? The absence of light is dark. So what is there in the organized players? Absence of all those things in someone is called an unorganized player. Now, when we say what is present in the organized players, they've got a setup for training. Not only training, they've got a setup for infrastructure. They have got a setup for inventory management. They work on digitized platforms. They have their own crew, which is available to get deployed across India. So these are some features of organized players. They have got the brand in place. Now, what is the brand? Brand is your years of experience and your credibility in the marketplace to stand by the value systems in which you have demonstrated over time. Is brand. So they carry a particular brand. They are sizable enough to take care of your scalability stuff. So all these are the credentials of the organized players, and their absence only creates a space called unorganized players in the market.
And then there is a next question is, what is the difference between rental and rent and leasing, and which is preferable?
So clearly there is no preference. Preference is to be decided by someone who is going to get into the transaction. So these are the two different transactions possibly. There is no good or bad about it. The lease is where you take the equipment through a financial institute. Rental is a transaction where you directly get involved with a rental company who is a service provider and who works on your KPIs and KPOs for your business operations. Lease is a particular transaction in which usually there is a tripartite agreement between the finance company, the the OEM of equipment and a company which is giving the service backup. So it is a tripartite sort of an agreement, but at the end of the day, you end up having an option of buying or owning an equipment. But in rental, usually that is not an option unless and until it is not very clearly spelled out at the beginning. So these are the two transactions. There is nothing good or bad about it. It is about the choices.
Absolutely correct, sir. So we will carry on the questions since we have time. Meanwhile, I request everyone to please check the chat box for a feedback link, and we will definitely appreciate your feedback to better ourselves in the next webinars to come. Gunjan sir, the next question is, will imported equipment rental give advantage against local equipment rentals?
I would say, as I said earlier during the presentation, when we talk about a product, okay, I've got my own choices of making what is good and what is not so good in among the product categories. But as soon as I switch my preference to services, which is rentals, it is not important that which equipment we are talking about. It all depends upon the man who is standing behind those equipment and delivering you the services. It all depends upon your infrastructure, capabilities, KPIs, KPOs. It also depends upon the compliances, because it is not only about the equipment. If I see the whole gamut of the components of a rental, I would say the equipment is hardly 10 to 15% of what is required. The rest, success of the KPIs and the KPOs depends upon the team which is engaged in delivering it. So though it is important, the good health of an equipment is extremely important. Features of equipment are extremely important. Now, whether we are talking about a global product or an Indian product, or we tag it as an Indian. So today the Indian products are well established in global markets. They are being exported under white labels. So clearly we should not undermine ourselves. Okay, when the world is being running on Indian products.
Well said, sir. So, sir, I think that we can conclude this session with this question. And thank you so much for all the very insightful session. And we thank all the attendees that they took time out of their busy schedule to meet with us. It has been a great journey, and we continue to do continue doing this in the future as well. Again, I would like everyone to just give their feedbacks through the feedback link, and we will see you in the next webinar. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone.